Maybe you're deaf, Paul.
I'm back on the booze-free beer. This time it's red brew.
Oh gosh.
Can you hold that can up to the camera? Let me see it.
Fuck's sake.
Did you do it?
No,
Did you really hold it up?
I did.
Oh my gosh, Paul.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 13th episode of the Joey podcast with two guys who can actually see each other and me who can't be seen by either of them because we don't understand technology completely yet.
No,
I
never
think I got
will.
my mic fixed this time though. Hopefully.
Holy.
Here's crossing my fingers.
The best part was I don't know if that was Shane's fault or Paul's fault or really both of their fault, but somebody was at fault.
I think it's everyone's fault because we're in this together.
I'm exempt. I'm exempt. But yes, we're a team as long as I'm exempt.
What is your percentage? Are you like 96%? And Josh and I are 2 and 2?
Is this the revenue split?
Yes.
Yeah, that's generous, I think.
Revenue and responsibility.
Generous to you guys to have too much 2%.
I'll take 2%.
Well, okay, we'll leave Shane with 0.5% then, and I'll have the remainder. We are not the first human beings, to do a mountain bike podcast, but this is ours, and it's about something to do with bikes, I'm sure, but we never really get to the point.
That's what I was told at one point.
We're going to figure out what this episode is called as the episode goes through. So join us in this journey. Don't skip ahead. Leave a 5-star review on iTunes. Hit follow on Spotify. And tell a friend. Tell a co-worker. Maybe tell Bill in accounting. There's always a Bill in accounting, I'm sure.
Every Bill I know, man, just loves punching numbers.
There we go. That's exactly it. So why don't we get started straight away with our most regular segment, which is the introducing of the other people that are on this podcast. We have the Daily MTB rider, otherwise known as Jösh, and he sounds like this.
Everybody, just so you know, I did beat Paul in a race. Yes.
What? The best thing you should know about Jösh is that he's really modest. So, and he'll tell you.
Modest and hottest, boys.
He's the most modest person. He'll tell you.
And the most honest. Just saying.
There you go. And this is Sheyn.
Hey, I'm Sheyn, brought to you tonight by Love's Butts. Wait. What did you put on the teleprompter?
For those of you write the teleprompter. You put that on yourself.
Jösh.
For those of you who don't know, Shane's last name is Love, and so every time I see Shane Love, I just think Shane loves butts.
I love those butts.
There we go. Yes, so let's get on to our real first segment, which is Shane's favorite segment. It's called Last Week's Comments, and he does have a jingle.
It's last week's comments.
There's a little nuances. If you can tell the difference between this week's last week's comment, leave a comment below on the YouTube video and let us know.
Last week sounded like a robot.
Okay, so let's just get stuck straight in, shall we? Well, Jösh, you have a particular comment that you'd like to bring up.
Oh, well, it is not actually about last week's podcast. It is about our EWS race, but I thought it was beautiful.
This is all this episode is going to be about, just FYI.
We're jumping in.
What happens? So,
Will Freeland says, after watching Paul and Josh's EWS100 videos, I am left looking at Paul's tires and the fact they did not clear mud as well as Josh's. Could this be a Joey of the Week moment, choosing the wrong tires? And he says, hats off for riding such challenging conditions and keeping up for the most part. Love the podcast. Now, this is my favorite comment, not because it has anything to do with Paul's tires, because Paul has great tires on his bike. It's the fact, Will, your bike and your tires have to be moving fast enough to clear mud, and Paul's weren't.
I was going to say, let's do a quick science lesson about inertia, gravity, friction. I mean, a whole load of things, but it generally will boil down to Josh was going faster than me, so the mud was able to disseminate from his tires much easier. So it's nothing to do with the equipment. It's about the person riding it, and that is almost the perfect example of this, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was gonna tell Will, you think about when you're. I realized after that race, and seeing in the comments, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, us guys, we don't know what it's like to ride in the mud," and all Shane has is jagged rocks. I ride in the mud all the time, and what always happens is everything's going great. You don't have too much mud in your face when you're riding. And then you come to a stop. And as you slow down, all that mud packs in your tread. And then the instant you set off again, it quickly flies up into your face instantly, wrecking your GoPro, wrecking your vision right away. And so that's how that works. Will, go ride in the mud. You'll figure it out, bud.
There we go.
I just want to know how many rotations your wheels got going down that stage. Like 3 or 4.
Paul got
Which stage?
Most of them are when you threw your bike down.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I can't
Okay.
believe- in all this video of like me really trying the hardest, everyone has just been like, my favorite part was when you threw your bike. I'm like, great. Thanks so much.
You weren't even riding.
that's because every other part, like, you were trying, and then at that point, it's just
I'd
like,
given up.
well, he's given up, obviously.
So do you want to know? Actually, while we're on this subject, I like a couple of other people compared my footage to someone else's race footage to see like what the difference was. And actually, on that stage, I was largely exactly the same as Brian up until that moment. And then that's where it all fell apart, and I lost like 2 minutes just standing around and straightening my handlebars and doing all that stuff.
I feel like I'm tempted to put out all my race footage, like from top to bottom, and commentate it, mainly so you guys can just compare it to your own.
So this is what I was thinking of doing. Wouldn't it be cool if someone made a video of the top of the world stage? Because that's kind of it would actually be interesting. The top of the world with everyone's race run on it, all synced to start at the same time, and you can see where everyone is picking up speed and going faster.
My
It'd be
brain
so
would,
hard to watch.
Yeah, my brain would puke.
I bet it wouldn't be that bad. It'd be kind of interesting. I like head-to-head GoPro things. They're fun. Okay, next comment.
Sorry, just
Next
real
comment.
quick.
We've got to move on. We've
Okay,
only got
sorry.
an hour.
But this is banter. Let Josh banter.
Okay,
What do you mean, banter? Anyway, keep going.
Banter away, old bean.
Oh, is that like colons? Anyway, keep going.
Colons. All right. My comment that I choose from last week is from Mr. Flatwoods MTB. And we were talking about New Bike Day. That was our clickbait of the week. He said, I like New Bike Day. I enjoy fiddling with my bits before my ride. Wait, that sounds bad, but 100% accurate.
I do not approve this comment.
Josh works with young... Never mind.
Great.
Shane, I would not have approved your comment either. Beautiful.
I just want you both to know this is going to be a no edit podcast. So this is like, it's basically live. So don't mess it up.
Paul's edited out all of my F-bombs before this, so now I really got to reel it in, guys.
As we all know, you're such a swearer, Josh.
It's the core of who I am.
There we go. Okay. Well, if it's relating to last week's show, Brian Vaughan wanted to clarify that he only used 2 quick links, which I just want to say, we all knew that. We didn't think that he used 5 quick links. If we deduce that you are likely not to be that much of a Joey. I mean, that would be incredible levels of Joey. Maybe we need like a super Joey level or a Joey Platinum or something. That's like, we rarely give it out, like once a year or something. There would have to be something Aaron Gwynn level, of course.
If it is Aaron Gwynn level, we can pull out. Maybe our listeners can leave a comment on our YouTube video. Let us know what would the ultimate Joey award. I think we asked them that, though.
Yeah, we're too young. It's only 13 weeks. We need to be at like episode 100 to have
We'll
like
get
the
there.
ultimate Joey one.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
I think Paul's already there, but it'll happen.
Nice.
All right, looking at our comments, guys, I think most of everybody left their Joey of the Week nominations, and we're not on that segment yet. Except somebody made a comment about Paul and his bike brand that he rides, but I'm not going to read it because I don't want to say Paul. Whatever that
Did
brand
Shane get a
is.
Scott? We should check this. Did Shane get a Scott Ransom or perhaps a Scott Genius? Maybe a Scott Spark, the 120mm version.
Which Scott did I get?
See,
Scott
I wanted
Addict
like
RC, brand new, just been released, top of the end road bike.
I want to like diss Scott so bad, but then Paul would have to edit the podcast. Maybe I should diss Scott, so we have to edit it.
Hey, you're your own person, but every listener knows that Scots are the best.
Yeah, because that way you get like 10 extra cables right at your handlebars to stir out while you ride. Anyway, let's keep going.
Perfect. Well, we do appreciate all the comments.
Including
Comments.
MTB goes relentless. Mountain Bike Podcast, Mountain Bike Podcast, Mountain Bike Podcast. He's the only one doing this, guys. We really
Giving us
need
SEO.
Yeah. We've also I've also had a few tips on Sheyn's reverb. It's not blankets. Louis, I guess you've watched Seth's video from last week with him putting up blankets in his one-man cubicle. That was not the problem. It was much bigger than that. But
yes,
we've solved it this week. Another step to being a professional podcast. Anyway, Sheyn,
we've made it.
I keep interrupting you.
No. I was just saying we appreciate the SEO every time you put mountain bike in there. And every time that you comment. So comment on this week's episode, and maybe we'll read your comment here live on air when it's aired to you.
And now the best thing is, we've got to everyone's favorite segment. Take it away. Should nay nay.
Is it you? Is it me? It's the Joey of the week.
Original. Back to the original format. I like it.
Hot Pocket.
So, for those of you who don't know, because you might get confused, we are the Joey podcast. A Joey is somebody who is an absolute noob, and a Joey of the Week moment is when we ask ourselves who, what, when, or Aaron Gwynn made a terrible mistake that only a Joey noob would make. So, boys, got any Joey moments this week?
Well, Aaron Gwynn, what's he been up to? He's not been riding his bike again. That's what he's been up to. But apparently, he's showing off that he's actually, this could be a Joey professional moment. Apparently, he's been riding around on the bike brand that he rides for has a new bike out and everything. Very exciting. But it would appear that he's been riding around on one for ages, all covered up in prototype. But no one has taken any pictures of it, which is kind of a loser move, I think, when it comes to having a prototype bike. The whole point of having a prototype bike out in the real world is to have photos taken of it and then have it leaked online.
That's
Did it have those zebra stripe things on it
to
shine on the camera?
Yeah, it says, I don't understand that because they say that it stops an autofocus from working so well, but wouldn't that help it work better?
Yeah, and wouldn't a professional photographer who wants that photo not be using autofocus?
Oh,
Just
no,
saying.
they all use autofocus because it's it's so fast. So if they're getting sequences, obviously the rider's coming towards them, so you can't pull the focus that quick.
Oh, true. Cool. Makes Paul laugh every time. I've got those back pocket jokes to make Paul happy.
It's my favorite one.
All right, so guys, I'll start with my Joy of the Week moment. I don't have any because I did not ride more than the pump track. Sorry, guys.
Again?
I was on a family camping trip. Well, before that was weeks ago, but I was on a family camping trip. It's been a busy summer, so did not ride more than just around the neighborhood and at the pumpity pump.
Brought to you by NS Bikes.
God, no!
A guy who does not ride his bike every day.
Luckily, that's not their motto. Their motto is stay true, and I'm staying true to the fact I did not ride.
Great stuff. That's brilliant.
Brought to you by NS Bikes.
Hashtag dad life.
I've only ridden once this week. No, I mean I rode last weekend at the bike park, but whatever. I went on a death ride on Monday around Valleycliff, which is a very, very steep, very gnarly area of Squamish, and it's pretty cool. But it was just like, I'm going to Switzerland in 2 days, and I keep using this as an excuse, but I really get like paranoid about flights and everything. So
Paul's excuse when he comes back from Switzerland, I just got back from Switzerland and I don't want to hurt myself.
Well, hey, how about this? So I come back from Switzerland, and then 4 days after that, I have to go to the US Open with Fox Racing.
Oh, you have to go to the US Open with Fox Racing. I feel so bad.
It's my job. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I feel so bad you have to do it.
Well, so you went on this death ride. How many spots did you throw your bike down?
None. But I definitely walked down a couple of things. It was freaking scary. It was actually, Valleycliff is right up your street, Sheyn. It's like janky. It's rocks. I think it's got power climbing in it. I think this is you when you come.
Yes.
Are you saying it's too much for me to handle, Paul? It's okay. You can tell me the truth.
Oh my God. Why does everything have to be about you, Jösh?
Because it is. This is the Jösh podcast. Wait, what? It's not? What? Oh, gosh.
I've been spelling it wrong the whole time.
I
can't find it on the internet.
I will say, for as much crap as you are getting, Paul, for throwing your bike down and walking down a bunch of stuff. Like, you did finish that race, and there were 2 other YouTubers that decided to just not ride their bike anymore.
We
saying.
we need to wait to talk about the race. We are still on Joey of the
Yeah,
Week.
we gotta wait. If that can be the clickbait. Maybe, is that good enough clickbait? We'll find out.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll figure it out.
So Paul, no Joey's for you.
Joey of the Week.
Sing the jingle if you can't think of one.
Is it you? Is it me? It's probably me. I don't know. I'm sure I've done something. I guess one thing is that, like, I obviously ride a lot, and that race was quite taxing on the old bikes last week. So I had to replace some bushings. I replaced the bushings, and then I go out riding, and then the bearing goes in my main pivot. So I fixed one thing only for the next thing to wear out like almost immediately afterwards, which is kind of a bit annoying. It's not really Joey though. It's like stuff just breaks.
That's how you know you're a mountain biker.
Yeah, because things wear out because you ride so much.
Oh yeah.
It's very funny. Actually, the guys from Scott were like, well, I mean, that wouldn't happen unless you're riding a lot. Like, how often do you ride? And I'm like, probably about 5 days a week. And they're like, oh, okay. I guess that's quite a lot then. Yeah.
All right, Sheyn, are you a Joey this week?
Well, okay. So if you tuned in last week and put up with the robot voice, I did get a new bike last week.
Woo!
And it has sat untouched in my garage.
Oh yeah. There it is.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Well,
Beautiful.
okay. So there's a really good reason behind it. The bike came.
Is it because you saw your mate that you bumped into on the Yeti that crashed and didn't want to scratch up his bike, and you're like, this guy's got it sorted. He knows what's up.
This sounds
He's
like
very intelligent.
This sounds like 3 friends who decide to get gym memberships come January, and then one of them, like a weekend's like, I have a good reason. I was eating a delicious dinner. This is what it sounds like.
You know, it helps with the resale value if you just keep your brand new bike in your garage.
Terrible excuse.
Well, okay. The reasoning behind it is the bike came way earlier than I was anticipating. I was expecting it to take about a month or so. So I was going to, order my frame wrap up to be ready for it, and the crank booties and, all the little, I have a dropper post that I was waiting. But the bike came before I could even get the frame wrap, because I don't want to ride that bike without frame wrap on it.
So just to clarify, for every person who could not ride their bike because they've had to wait for a warranty issue, a release date, a shop being behind schedule, Sheyn can't ride it because it came too soon. Feel bad for him.
That's my Joey moments.
Amazing. That might be a perfect soundbite to have for it.
That I came too soon. Zinga. Okay, never mind. No editing.
If you point out the joke, Sheyn, rule 1 of comedy. Jeez.
Leave it forever.
Should we go to our listener nominations?
Mm-hmm. Yes, let's. So Sheyn, you've chosen your top 4.
Oh, I just grabbed a bunch.
Okay, let's assume
there's some good ones.
These are top 4. Okay, Kurt Busch, great name. How is your? It is a very Kurt Busch. Here's my Joey of the Week move. I forgot to stop my Strava after a ride. I loaded my bike and took off in my car. I absolutely crushed some roadie segments on the way home. ... in my car.
I've done that.
I literally did that 2 days ago.
Yeah,
I do it all the time.
Back when I hated myself and wanted to get 50th closest to KOM and use Strava, I would do the same thing. Not anymore.
Well, the funny thing is, like, I didn't even. You can go in and shorten it afterwards, but only on the desktop, which seems weird.
Strava. Weird.
I did that, and then I just made the ride private anyway because I was riding some off stuff, and I didn't even correct it. So I didn't. Well, what do you reckon, guys? Is that a Joey move? I
think it happens to just about everybody.
It happens. That's not.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not like specifically Joey enough. I think for it to be nuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't say that using Strava is a Joey move, but I don't love Strava. Just saying.
There you go.
All right, next up.
Okay. Who's reading it?
I'll read it. We're
Professional.
interrupting each other now. We're being so polite.
Professional.
Our friend, Mr. MTB Alandon. Not Aladdin or not MTB Allen. MTB Alandon. He said he said
Sorry.
what?
I thought it was Allendon. That's what he wrote.
Oh, maybe it is Allendon. Okay.
No, I swear he's had to do this twice now.
He said, okay, to solve the mystery, it's pronounced Allen-Din.
Well,
Allendon.
how do you Alan-Din? That's a weird way of pronouncing
I
it.
thought he was just like spelling it out like Alandon.
No, I feel like that's too fancy. He put Allen-Din. Everybody go look at Allendon. That's what I'm going to call him now. That's his name. Sorry, Allendon. You wrote it for me. Okay. And he said it used to be his gamer name.
Well, Mr. Allendon,
because his real name is Alan Turner. There you go.
Well, Mr. Allendon, Mr. Alan Turner, we have shouted you out so much at this point that I feel like you are our future sponsor of the week. A check in the mail is expected from you soon.
Wait,
welcome.
You've been getting checks? Sorry, keep going.
His Joey of the week, he was at his local bike park, and there was a restaurant where his wife was eating. She could see him out the window by the like beginner jump tracks and the beginner pump track and jump trail, whatever. And he was riding by and he waved to his wife, "Hey, honey, I'm doing so amazing here. I'm a great mountain biker." Didn't realize that he was going uphill, so when he stopped to wave, he didn't have time to click out, and he just fell over, and he swore that he heard someone in the background or far away say, "Yo, timber!" I thought that was pretty comical. We've all seen people fall over. Those weirdos that use clipless pedals. Sorry, Alan.
Definitely a Jerry move, falling over in the clip pedals. That's right up there. That's right.
Here's another good one. Feldy Bike says he took 2 gloves the other day, but one was his wife's, which was much too small. He said, "I just rode without gloves. Had there been gardening gloves in the car, I still would have ridden without gloves."
Brilliant.
Mr. Feldy Bikes is actually a friend of mine. I've ridden with him, and he makes bikes. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, and he said that your voice was good. He said it was kind of cyborgy, and he says if you incorporate more sci-fi, that maybe that'll help us as a podcast. I agree.
The year 2000, the distant future.
Yeah. And then he said, one more question. Did you try to get Phil to join your EWS, or would he just annihilate everybody? A lot of people have been saying, like, why didn't you invite more people? Like, we have a group that communicates all together, all of us YouTubers. So everybody knew about it. Nobody else piped up. So he could have, but Phil knew he would definitely wipe the floor with us.
I don't know. There's no way to know.
I have a nomination outside of the comments. Yeah, I was informed of it earlier on today. I have a friend. He is a World Cup mechanic, top end. He's also a carpenter, so clearly a man skilled with tools. Okay, that's the most important thing to know about this. He sends me a message because complaining about the Scott goggles because he can't figure out how to take the lens out. And me, person who is incompetent at most things,
I'm with
especially mechanics, had to explain to him how you had to take them off, because he said they're too complicated, and then I quickly showed him how simple it was. I actually have some here, but you can't see it because it's not on the webcam. And I had to explain to him. I had to explain to him how to take it off, and it's very simple. And then he went, at the end.
Remember, so Paul, no product placement. Scott does not sponsor our podcast yet, wink, but it is good to know those are easy to take off.
They are a prospect sponsor.
Ooh.
Scott Prospect goggles available at all good retailers.
Dang it, you got me.
Got him. You don't know this, guys, because you can't see me on the webcam.
Oh my gosh.
I've got a full display of Scott bikes that I've just lined up. I'm actually holding up things that have the specs and the prices.
I'm sure you do.
Okay, let's move on. Wow, I feel like we're smashing through this podcast, which is weird because normally we don't. Oh, wait, we can just get to the EWS stuff now. Let's do it.
Let's jump right in, boys, to talk about the EWS100 YouTube edition.
Edition.
Dude, the funniest comments I read, people, were there other people in this race? And I thought to myself, none that mattered. Mainly because they were all better than us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Were there other people in this race? Did they close off Whistler for these 7 YouTube guys?
Yeah, they would. They would. Hey, wait. So who got the Joey of the Week? We didn't really nominate anybody.
It's got to be Buddy that fell over clipped in.
Yeah, is that Allendon? Yeah.
Man bike, MTB Allendon. Yes, he has won the coveted Jury of the Week.
Timber!
Just in front of everybody. I love it.
Amazing. Okay.
All right, you got it.
Shane, I want you to lead this segment.
You know, I will say that I have been devouring these YouTube videos of you guys putting out for this EWS race. It has just been super amazing. Yeah, no, it's been great. I really wish I could be there. I'm thinking about next year's Whistler trip. It'd be super fun.
So let's start at the beginning. Shane, before the race, what were your expectations going in?
I kind of was expecting Mr. Boostmaster to take it. And I will say I was expecting BCPOV to take second because he has done a lot of races and I like his racing videos. I was thinking for third, maybe Van Can or Jösh. You know,
BKXC.
You know, I haven't seen BKXC ride a lot of Whistler type stuff, so I don't really know how he's going to do. And I didn't really study the course. So I was thinking Mr. BKXC could have come in maybe fourth or fifth. And I was thinking you, Mr. Paul or Ryan, you two would be battling there at the bottom.
At the butts of the order. Yeah.
Paul, what did you think going in?
I was fully expecting to be last all the time.
Yeah.
That's all I thought. I knew Jordan was going to win. I thought Eric was going to be second. And then I thought Brian was going to be third. Then I thought you'd be in fourth. Then Nick Van Can in fifth. And then sixth old Ryan. That's how I thought it was going to go.
If you didn't watch my prediction video, I basically said Paul's going to be last. Jordan probably wouldn't be first because he would fall. But if he didn't fall, he would be. And then I also said Eric would be high up there. Everybody, here's what I found. This is kind of jumping ahead. Everybody thought Eric was going to do very well, and most people did not think I was going to do very well. So, know what I say?
How does that make you feel, Jösh?
It makes me think about the Michael Scott quote. Oh, how the turntables!
I was thinking maybe next time you will estimate me.
Damn. The only one I can think
turn
of
into
is,
the Office podcast.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah,
it's not Michael Scott.
Michael Scott.
Yeah, it's I have a cup that says that. Wayne Gretzky by Michael Scott.
Well, I think weather had a lot to do with that, don't you think?
Well, wait. Let's start with
let's do day one.
Day one, top of the world to the bottom, because this, I think, give me a moment. I think this would be telling if there was better conditions day two, how things would pan out. So day one comes, top of the world to the bottom, 24 to 20. I don't know how slow did someone slow do it. 27 minutes, right? Paul, okay, Shane, starting with you because you got the fresh eyes. How was your reaction after day one?
After day one, I was kind of surprised that you were up there in second place, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, shut up! You can't be massaging his ego like this. This is the worst thing.
Paul, were you surprised I was in second place?
I was amazed that Eric and Brian weren't second and third.
And like I said beforehand, and I do mean it, I literally have ridden the bike park way less than everyone else.
Yeah. But like, come on. Let's have some real talk now. That route down was not that hard.
No.
And like there's no way that everyone could remember turn by turn. And there were like very few lines, like everyone knew the Longhorn cut line, for example. That was a line. But the rest of it, it's all just one line straight down to the bottom. So it's about who can carry the most speed. And the two people that did that, who can do that, are you and Jordan. And that's why you finished first and second.
I will agree with you. I will not deny your fact. But I have seen, following Jordan, following everybody except for Brian in the bike park, that when you ride the bike park a lot, you get so much more comfortable going fast because you're used to the berms, the layouts, the landscape. And so like honestly, like Nick was somebody I was surprised that Nick didn't place better because I followed him in the bike park, and if it was just on skill, not on stamina, which where I think is where Nick fell short, he'd admit that. He's way faster in cornering and plows because he's ridden in a bike park for so long. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I think so. I think knowing the course, because like it's top of the world, like no one rides that much.
Yeah.
The one section I'd say is like no joke, for sure.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the beginning bit up to the Creekside gondola. Because when you went round that, no one does that wide line round, no joke. Everyone just goes straight down the left line, which is hard for Shane to understand because he doesn't.
Are you talking about?
that.
Is there a trail called No Joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I thought you were saying like there's a trail. No joke.
I'm
It's
not
where I
saying
went-
Like, it's no joke.
yeah, it's where I went nose heavy, Shane, after passing Paul. Like,
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where no joke
Scary.
starts. Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't think, and then everyone, obviously there was that afternoon delight bit, which no one ever rides. I mean, there's like maybe a couple bits where it pays to have ridden it a bunch, like the section just before the hard bit. But I don't think it made that much of a difference. I think it was all who is best. I think it tested for sure who is best at carrying speed. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And Brian was 20 seconds behind me, but he dropped a chain. So he pulled over, threw the chain on, and kept going, which I'll be curious to see. Paul,
Oh.
you can see it.
I can, because I'm a patron of Brian, because I like to support people.
My gut says it took just about 20 seconds. Might have been 15, might have been 25, but it probably didn't take much more.
I think it was 10. He counted to 10. One 1,000, two 1,000.
You can definitely add a few more seconds on. For
Yeah, a
that
few more.
to take into account for momentum and everything.
Lost speed. I don't know. I think carrying speed counts, but having just raced some enduro races where there's some 20+ minute stages, like it's not just about carrying speed. Your arms and your legs and your rear buttock, it just really start to shut down on you because you're not used to riding for that long. You know, you're at the bike park, you're having fun. You'll stop and take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
that's probably what Nick does, which is what your point was earlier, Josh.
Yeah, and I will say too, Paul, like one other thing you notice is that I passed you going into No Joke, which is probably over a third of the way down. Would you agree?
Yeah, let's say that. We can say that.
But you stuck with me basically till the end.
Yeah, because I messed up the woods. That's what I said right at the bottom. I was like, I've messed up the woods. I did not go around those turns fast enough. And probably some sections of Top of the World as well, like in the berms.
Yeah,
Like,
but
for sure.
I would say like that is a testament to like you've ridden the bike park a lot, and so like you didn't have a tough time keeping up after Top of the World.
Yeah, but we should also, like, everyone else has mentioned that Brian did the BC bike race. But no one has pointed out the fact that I did it as well.
Brian's
Like-
just carrying that BC bike race fitness.
Go and watch Eric's. Go and watch Eric's.
Yep.
Yeah, Eric's video.
I
It's
just
like,
did.
oh,
That's what
Brian
he
has
said.
his BC bike race fitness. Blah 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 blah. And here's Paul. He lives down the road. It's like, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I was in that bloody race as well. I have him know. And like that was the thing at the beginning, like Top of the World. My hands hurt a bit, but then the moment we got out of that, I was fine. Like I had no pain whatsoever. And I improved the more that the race went on because I was warm. I warmed up, if you like.
Yeah. And
Like,
I will
for me,
say,
the
Paul,
hardest bit was doing nothing and then dropping in.
yeah. And Paul, I will say to the point about the fitness and the BC bike race, I think instead of just saying Brian is just such a fit and athletic guy, it's easier to say he did the BC bike race. And big surprise here, Paul, but compared to Brian, I don't think people think of you as the most fit and athletic guy. Now, this is coming from the equivalent of, an obese, man in his garage talking to his friends. But anyway,
No, I think, and like that's, yeah, it's like, I've are you eating pizza? Oh my God, the meme returns.
It's second dinner.
Oh
Shane
my
is pulling out delicious pizza.
It's the dad diet, man.
Is
I'm
that
so
cheese?
proud, Shane.
Oh, is that cheese? Oh, you're pescatarian.
I am lactose intolerant, but I will put up with the squirts for pizza.
Wow. Well, stay tuned to the end of this podcast, guys, because it might have an explosive ending. Shane can't take his pizza and he has to just disappear off.
Paul,
My
that
pants
was
are already off, so
that was such a dad joke. And Shane, we all know you're not wearing pants as per usual. That's when we have the best
Don't stand
podcast.
up. Don't stand up.
All right.
Don't stand up.
All right. So day one was out of the way, and I would be
Hold on,
very.
we haven't finished on day one yet. I don't think. Have we talked?
Okay.
Has Shane asked enough questions? Like,
I think, I don't know. I kind of watched them all and got to the end, and I was like, oh, it's like you finish Game of Thrones and you got to find something else to move on to.
All right, Shane, honesty hour. You showed up and you raced that race with us. Where do you think you'd come in on stage?
Last. I'd come in behind Paul.
Paul wasn't last on that stage.
I shut down. I shut down like when there's trees and roots and skinny. Like I'm just not familiar with it. I'm trying to ride more of that, but I'm pretty sure I would have been so cautious thinking about my kids and my wife and insurance and job. I would have just come in last.
I think about those type of things too when I race. What?
Well,
as long as
your home trails.
Yeah, hold on, guys. As long as you've got a backup, like I have nothing. I'm a lone wolf out here. Literally, it's me against the world in self-employed land. You guys have got all sorts of protection. I have nothing.
I don't know. I mean,
silence.
I mean, your life is pretty depressing, but moving on.
I race to have fun with my friends, to hang out and to like the high fives at the end and the beer and the pizza, like I race for that. I don't necessarily race to like be super fast and competitive.
And just to clarify, what's that like, Shane? Having friends.
Hold on. You don't race to be competitive. How many Ironmans have you done, Shane?
Just 2.
Yeah, that's
full
2 more.
Full Ironman?
Yeah, full Ironman.
Oh, hot dog, neighbor.
I didn't do those to be competitive. I did those to push myself mentally, and physically, and emotionally.
And it's the same thing with this race. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's about finishing.
Yeah, it is about finishing. You're quite right, Shane. Finishing.
Anyway, so are we done with stage 1 from day 1?
Yeah, I think so. Now, can I just, seeing as Jösh has been all like punching his chest and stuff, I want to say that I was not that far off of Eric in the grand scheme of things on that stage. I think to be like 20 seconds away after 26 minutes is pretty respectable.
Oh yeah.
Well, and here's a curveball. Like, I thought,
great job, Paul. Great job.
This is not about
kind of you.
No, this is not about you. Paul, I knew you would do well in stage 1. I was not surprised by your standing. You did very well. Is that what you wanted to hear?
No, it's not actually. I just wanted to say my point of view.
Yes. But Eric, if you watch all of his videos, Eric he's a really great technical rider, but Eric's not a guy known for plowing and just giving no cares and going fast, right? That's Jordan. And so like in his time, Eric did not do bad. He did not do extraordinary. He did good, right? And I think that is like who Eric is as a rider. Like, and that's not a diss on him. I felt like he was going to shine more on the next stages. And so, yeah, like all that to say, Paul, I think you did good, but I'm not too surprised that you were as close as you were to Eric.
Okay. But he has also ridden the bike park the longest out of everyone on that list.
Oh, you think so? I didn't know that.
Well, he's like
more than Jordan?
He's like 5 years older than me. And he's ridden the bike park every year.
Since he was born?
I don't think the bike park was open in 1891.
But then again, like he is all about being precise on those techie bits and slower. He'll take things a lot slower. So I can see what you're saying.
Yeah. All right. So Paul, you did well stage 1, day 1. Moving
Jösh,
on.
You did well on stage 1 as well.
Ah, thank you, Paul. I surprised myself. Moving on to day 2, where I was not so surprised and Paul's tires couldn't clear the mud. That comment. Literally, I read it right before we started podcasting. I was like, well, this is the best thing I've seen all day for sure.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so let's talk about stage 2. Who wants to jump in on that one?
I'll jump in on that. It was a death march up to that. That is. I mean, it's not the whole of the gnarliest trail, but that is as steep as a bike trail is going to get, isn't it? Really, for the first bit for Jaws, like it's going to get. That's it.
This is going to sound so pretentious, but like that is not as steep as bike trails get. That is as steep as legal sanctioned bike trails get. Yes.
Okay.
You and your hometown trails.
Paul, do you not agree?
Well, I'm about to go to Chomprey, and I'll make a video from that, and then you'll see what steep is. But that is like, it was really steep. The thing is, like, if I went back and I did it, it would take me a few more time. It would take me more times than you for sure to ride it. Like, even if we hadn't ridden it, I would say that. Josh, you could probably make it down first time. If I was going to make it down clean, it would probably take me like 4 goes or something.
Okay.
Of going at it. That's what I'm trying to say with that.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. And when I went, well, first of all, before I dropped into the actual trail, I'd already messed up. Did you see that? I assume you saw that bit. So I'm pedaling along the fire road, and then I see the turn, and I remember from practice, like, oh, it's going to be better if you stay a bit wider here than cut in.
Yeah.
And then that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not focused on anything else. And all of a sudden, both of my wheels slip, and I double unclip from my pedals, which and that's what you can't see what's going on, obviously, but because it's my wrong angle. But I just
doing some tank training.
What? Like what? And I was just so rattled, like, and I was not expecting anything like that to happen, and I was so confused. And then you can see the panic ensue afterwards, and then I was just, I was done.
When you unclip in general and you don't expect it, it like stinks, but to double unclip, that's pretty bad. Okay, I feel like I need to back up just a second and go. We all pre-rode that stage 2 days before in the dry, and to kind of apart from Jordan, and to redeem myself from being too much of a turd about steepness. Most of the guys said that is the steepest trail they had ever ridden. And in the dry, all of us did really well. Like, we rode almost all the features, but a lot of them were like, that's a gnarly. And I agreed it was gnarly. I agreed that it was steep, but I've ridden other stuff like that, and I felt like the trail, and this is what I will say, Paul, I felt like the trail was built very well. That if there's absolute terrible conditions like we had, you could still ride the trail and do okay. And so that's kind of was my viewpoint on it. But it was very steep, and then the rain just made it terrible.
Yeah.
Well, so your experience played into that, but like when you wake up that day and it's pouring rain or when it's horrible conditions, what are you thinking?
I woke up at 4 a.m. that day and I couldn't get back to sleep. So
yeah,
I was like, I think I definitely had a couple of nightmares during the night. I was nervous about it all.
Yeah, and Paul, we can have real talk. Like, Paul was debating actually riding day 2 because he has this big trip coming up. So, Paul, what were you thinking going up to the pedal and up to the podium, like to the stage and everything?
I'd unfortunately forgotten that I'd already given myself plenty of outs before. And it was only until after the end of stage 2 that someone said, "Oh, didn't you say that you weren't going to do this if it rained?" And I went, "Oh yeah, why didn't I do that?"
Paul, I'm going to tear up. You're making me a proud parent. You forgot about your excuse. So beautiful.
I know, it sucks so much. I had a perfect out and I could have taken it.
Yeah, but
I was just like, I'm very stubborn, and I think that was it. The moment I got down that stage, I was like, I'm gonna finish. Like, I didn't even think about pulling out or anything.
Paul, do you ride in the rain in Squamish?
I haven't. Honestly, it hasn't really rained here. Also,
oh wow.
And like, it's been like, and if it does rain, it rains for 2 days, and then it's like amazing conditions.
Yeah.
But so, like, and I know you're going to say that you ride a lot in the rain.
Yeah. So when I saw it was going to rain and that it did rain a lot, honestly, I just thought to myself, well, I think this is going to be of a very big advantage for me. In Bellingham, especially like I coach, or, I'm a volunteer ride leader, whatever, on our high school team. And so we ride rain or shine. We ride pouring rain. We ride if there's a little bit of snow. So I ride in all conditions, and I'm extremely comfortable in the sopping wet. And basically our trails are like what you find in Whistler, in the sense of like tons of exposed roots and steep chutes and stuff. And I found like riding difficult trails in the rain makes you a better rider, because you learn how to ride in difficult environments. So
I think it's not necessarily just the rain. I think it's just, if you ride a lot in one condition, you'll get good at riding in that condition. Like that's really it.
And I personally, and this is me, I was looking at the watching the North Star. That's the next EWS down in California, and it's like moon dust. I personally think riding in moon dust and extreme dry, shy visibility is a lot easier than super wet, slippery routes. But that's just me.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is this segment brought to us by Josh's tire sponsor?
No, because it's just
Because
he was just going
I
fast.
don't have one.
He was just going fast and riding it better. Like that's
So-
so. Did you see any of the pros down that? I mean,
Yeah.
admit it. Like here's the thing that we have to preface with this is that they had it so much drier than when we did. Like
Yeah.
it was even Jesse's head cam. I was like, there was a puddle there when I was riding that, and now there's no puddle. Like it was crazy. But
And
the fact that we have the same bikes as them, right? There's barely any difference between our bikes and theirs, and they just smashed it down the whole thing.
And I think a big part of that, switching gears. I think the reason some people struggled a lot, and Paul, I will put this on you along with most other riders, is commitment level, right? Jordan has no issues fully committing. He's not afraid to fall. He wants to go fast, right?
Yeah.
In those conditions, I had no issue committing. And my neighbor is a buddy of mine and is a mountain biker. He's like, I was watching Paul's footage and then Eric's and some and comparing it to yours. And you guys were all taking the same line, but you were going fine and they were slipping off to the side. And Yuka's footage, more than that, Yuka's footage proved it. If your foot is out and you're tripoding or putting a foot out just in case you fall, it throws the balance off on your bike and you're not committing to a line, and that's going to hurt you. That's going to cause you to slip out. And I feel like, I could be wrong, the issue for a lot of the guys was commitment levels, just going for it, even though it was nerve-wracking.
It's you've got to go a step beyond that, and it's like you got to look at why aren't you committing?
Yeah,
and people are afraid of getting hurt.
Yeah,
like that's like if I've
that's when I get hurt the most.
Yeah, I've talked about this with Todd, who's Aaron Gwynn's coach, and a bunch of other people's coach. And he's like, the people that can go fastest are the people that are not afraid of what's going to happen if they crash.
Yeah,
like that's what it comes down to. And the people that messed up are the ones worried about what will happen if they crash. And that's literally it. It's not like it's just, are you comfortable with accepting the fact that you might crash? And that's just it. Like the people that won were the ones that were fully happy and comfortable in the conditions. It's not about tire pressure. It's not about what size rotors you have. It's not about it might be about if you had a good night's sleep or not. But there's all these factors, and it's, at the end of the day, it's just like who's comfortable, and like that's all racing is. Like there's so many people, like there's an amazing mountain bikers, and everyone always goes like, oh, I don't understand why they're not the fastest in the world. It's like because it's all a mental thing.
It is. I would agree with you and say it's a large part mental, but obviously we all know there's a lot of skill played into it as well. So coming out of stage 2, we had one person who dropped out. That was Ryan, the Lone Ranger, and I watched his video.
I am confused by his video.
Yes,
I don't understand. And Sheyn, the other thing that I'm really confused by.
I haven't watched the video yet.
Okay, the other thing that I'm really confused by, and I didn't ask him about this, was that he dropped out of the race because it was wet and everything. We went and did stage on that day because remember there was one stage from before, so I'm just going to say it on the day. He did one stage. We went and did stage 2, and then we went up to the next stage in the bike park, and there was Ryan riding in the bike park.
Yeah, in stage 4.
And I couldn't understand why he didn't want to ride the race, but he was perfectly fine going up and riding in the conditions anyway.
Well, here's what I will say. From Ryan's video, he said he dropped out from fatigue, which is something that obviously it's a fatiguing race. And his claim was after the climb to Jaws, which is stage 2, Sheyn, which is the toughest climb and the longest climb. Like, understandable.
We had so much time. We basically walked. Like, let's have some real talk amongst this.
We walked a lot. I don't think we
wasn't hard for me. That wasn't hard because everyone was just like we were just walking up and taking it super chill.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree. And Ryan was self-admittedly said he was not very fit, was not used to really long rides until he came over to Vancouver. I'm not trying to give it out. I'm just saying, like, from his video, I connected some dots about it. But in the other thing too, joining us in the bike park, you can choose to go down blue and green runs, right? Instead of double black terrorizing runs, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
But
and they already have a lift ticket.
But if you're tired and fatigued, like, wouldn't you just go home and rest?
No, I don't do that.
Carry on bike riding. Like, that's what I was confused about. But I never asked him about it.
Understandably, yeah, I think that makes sense. But yeah, Ryan dropped out then, and for him it was fatigue and just not wanting to risk it, and he talked about risk a lot. And then we went to stage 3, which was another pedal, and this I think was the most interesting stage because it was I would argue primarily a lot to do with fitness level, and this is why Sir BKXC did so well, I believe. Paul, thoughts on stage 3?
Yeah, I would have done a lot better on that stage. There were 2 points where I completely came off the bike and stopped. Every other time that I was on the bike, I was riding pretty well. It was just, and I even some guy caught me up that was behind me, and then you came over this fire road, Sheyn, and you go around this corner, and there was just this rooty little climb bit, and I just classic slip out, had to stop, get off, and he caught me by then because I'd also had this freak out before, which I did leave in my video, and he caught me up, but then, like, moments later, then I had a clean run to the finish. I caught back up to him and then dropped him like a stone on the fire road, and then beat him. I put like 25 seconds into him in like 30% of the course. So it's a full commitment issue, and I freaked myself out when things went wrong. Yeah. I came around that one turn. It was kind of a janky one, and you're meant to go wide. I completely forgot, went inside, squared up the turn, had to stop, go, frick. I'm all bent out of shape, and I stood there basically for 30 seconds, and like that happened again like later on. But I was disappointed in myself on that stage because I was like really trying.
Yeah, but you made it up after that dude caught you, and then you dropped him.
And I will say too, that stage was not a blue run. Like, it was difficult. Like, there were some gnarly sections to it, and Paul, where you stopped was one of them.
Yeah, I mean that was a black trail, like, because there's 3, right? It went Golden Boner, and then Roam in the Loam, and then Instant Gratification. The last 2 are blue trails. The first one is a black trail.
Yeah, that's what had the most difficult parts to it. But I mean, still, like, this is where my point was, like, it's not just fitness for Brian. It's also like you have to ride that trail well. Right. And so it was a tough trail. It was very long, and that was the pedaliest trail 10 times over, like so pedally.
But I loved it because I don't know if I've mentioned, I did the BC bike race, and I was very comfortable. Here's the thing.
Either we're sponsored by the BC bike race, or Paul really wants people to know that he did something.
Look, guys, I did it. Okay. I have a medal, everything, participation medal.
I'll believe it when I see it, and I can't see it right now.
I think on that stage, like, I was fully on that fire road, I was fully comfortable with emptying myself. So that's one stage I compared myself to Brian, and I got up to I did the fire road only 2 seconds slower than Brian did. So I really like dumped it and then recovered. I mean, I was pretty out of breath by the end, but I got over it, and I felt fine afterwards. So just to clarify, you were comparing gravel road climb. Have you considered road biking? Yes, I have considered road riding. Oh gosh, I love the Joey podcast is officially over because Paul's the ultimate Joey and going to road biking. We're done. Nice, all right, but yeah. What did you think of that stage, Sheyn? Can you remember any of it?
I'm having trouble differentiating. I'm having trouble differentiating all the stages. Like, I watched everybody's videos.
Do you know what would be great if you
culminated to the end?
If you watch some of the videos as we're going through this, open up one of the videos and stick it on mute. All right, we need to move on to the next stage because it has the most memorable moment that happened in the entire EWS 100. Oh, my life. Which is arguably, I wouldn't call it a Joey of the Week moment because I rode through it and I stopped beforehand and went, farts, this is terrible. It's Paul Haysom, not Paul Handsome. Some people think Paul Haysom
throwing his bike in front of him, watching it fall, and then jumping through to continue on.
Did you hear what I said? Could you hear the audio enough? I thought about turning it up.
I heard you just say like, "Ah."
No, so you're gonna love this now when I actually tell you what happened. So I was pretty afraid of that. I finally cleaned that trail in practice. I was pretty stoked. I was actually so stoked in practice the whole way through that stage. I was like, yes, this is going to be way better than I thought. And I come over the top, and then as I go over the crest, I hear a guy say rider as I'm dropping into the slippery mess. And I go, shit. And then turns out the guy has also done the same shit moment and followed me down. I'm like, oh, no. And then I was just, again, panic, racer brain. Like, I didn't know what was going on. All I knew I was messing up. And I go around that corner and I let that other guy go past. And if you watch him, he pushes down, which is what I would have done. And he goes like, oh, it was a horrible noise if you were there. And immediately I'm just like, wow, what's going to happen to me? Even though it would have been exactly the same if I'd done it. But again, brain's not engaged. And then I looked down and I could just remember thinking like, there's no way I can run down this without falling on my face. Even though Eric and Brian did it perfectly fine again.
Wait, they ran down that part?
Yeah, watch the video. There's no way they like scooted down it or whatever, but I'm pretty sure Brian, like you can see the bars higher up. If I'm wrong, apologies.
I haven't seen Brian's. I feel like I watched Eric's. I don't remember if he walked it, but anyway, so you thought, I can't do this.
Yeah, and then I thought, and then just, logic goes out the window, doesn't it? And the only thing that I could think was roll the bike down and then jump down after it. That's going to be way safer.
Well, so this makes sense.
So I rolled it down. Okay, so I'm going to fill in the gaps. I thought you could hear it on audio, but I guess you couldn't. Roll it down, and the handlebars hit, and I just hear this. and I actually say, I hope that's a good noise. I don't know in what planet or what galaxy it's meant to be a good noise when you hear a noise. I'm also doing the gesturing movement of handlebars for you, my blind compadres there. And then I rode the rest of that trail with my bars twisted.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was actually, I feel like I should get some credit for that because that was quite a significant thing to do.
Sorry, just to clarify, you think we should give you credit for throwing your bike down a trail and the bars twisting and then riding it afterward for your terrible mistake? That's like telling somebody like, guys, I did hit myself in the nuts. You should give me some credit for keep going after that. It's like, no, you hit yourself in the nuts. You pay the punishment.
Get you're half there. Like, I don't deserve credit for half, but I do deserve credit for the other half.
Nah.
You were trying to fix it though, right?
And then I wasted more time. Like, I'm pretty sure all of my time wasted on that stage is just me stood still. Like, that's where I lost all the time.
Now, are we talking about stage 4 or 3 here?
4.
It's 4, but
it's the one where visibility was super low, super foggy.
Yeah,
you were wasting all your time doing that. What was Van Can doing if he was only 45 seconds ahead of you?
Well, he's probably having a similar nightmare, I imagine. He was done though on that stage, and that's where at that point, that's where the fitness and the just being used to riding for a long time comes in, and having he does have his suspension. I mean, he's a bigger dude, but he does have his suspension very, very, very hard, which I wonder if that would also played into it. Who knows? Maybe. But
it definitely didn't help.
He was donezo. It wouldn't have helped. But he was donezo.
Yeah.
For sure. In fact, there were 3. So, and then I don't think I left it in. The very last corner I messed up as well and had to get off the bike and stand still and line myself up as well. So how many is that? So I throw my bike. I have to get my handlebars straight. And then, so there were 3 solid instances at the end where I just, I handed it to myself. No, 4, because I also messed up on one of the root corners on delayed fuse. So So if only I was Josh and just like super confident in everything in life.
You rode that whole thing, right, Josh?
Yeah, I didn't fall at all. I did like put my foot down. I came to a complete stop a couple times, but I was just like, this sucks.
Didn't you win the stage? Didn't you win over Jordan on that one?
Yep, I won stage 4 and stage 5.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, which is, I was surprised to win watching the footage back. Like, oh yeah, I stopped at that corner and then I stopped at the drop where Paul threw his bike down. Like I did a full stop, like 2 second thought, and then went for it. But that stage was brutal, like just on your body. Like after that section where Paul threw his bike, it was just like delayed fuse. If anybody knows, it's just like pothole on pothole. And I passed Brian at that point.
Yeah, root corners, like
Yeah.
it was pretty wild. Like it's hard in the dry, so in the wet it was. Although it wasn't that bad in the wet, mainly because on delayed fuse I was just focused on being more like Jösh for a bit, not the whole thing, but for a bit.
It was
like, keep moving.
It was pretty bad in the wet. And the one thing you have to realize, and Paul, you brought it up and it made me think about it, is like I tell people this, but it doesn't register. But like saying this now will make sense in the race. I don't have that thing in my brain that like says like, oh, you could get really hurt, or oh, you should slow down. Like I literally don't have that when I'm mountain biking. It's just like, no, I said I would do this, so I have to finish it. And so like that's
Have you ever been really hurt mountain biking?
Yeah, only doing dumb things. I only fall and very.
No. But like, what's the worst injury you've had?
I separated my shoulder and broke my wrist in one incident.
Okay, so you haven't been like carried off a ski piece in a stretcher because you think you've broken your back?
No.
No.
Not
Because
yet.
I wonder if, because that's happened to me, I wonder if that pays into it. Like the experience for sure.
It doesn't, and I have proof of that because one, I broke my arm snowboarding doing a 360 off a jump, and I had surgery and couldn't do anything for 6 months. And then the first thing I did was go back and do a 360 on that jump, and then I overshot a 60-foot jump on my snowboard, and then totally tore my ACL, had surgery and all that. And then the first thing I did when I went back was go and do the same jump.
Oh, so you've taught you have had serious injuries.
Wow.
Yeah, not mountain biking.
I didn't say mountain biking. Josh.
Oh, I thought you meant just mountain biking.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No, just like serious injuries.
Oh yeah, I just have a couple screws loose in general.
I think I think that's what we're finding is like you're just comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're comfortable with being uncomfortable. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway, then we'll finish stage 4, and that's where Nick really was just like he looked at it. I looked at Jösh and I was like, I mean, I got you at the end of that, and you were like, yep, that was really, really hard. That was very, very difficult. And then Nick just went, I'm done.
He was like, I don't feel good. I can't keep going. He knew it would be bad if he did.
Yeah. And
Did he keep riding the bike park?
No, he went home.
He went home.
Because he was done and he was tired. So he went home and did nothing.
And he stayed home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was going to puke. Like it looked bad.
Oh, yeah. He was definitely pushing himself to the end. Kudos.
Yeah. And then after that stage,
no, hold on. Whoa.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
We are missing something that did happen, and it wasn't recorded or anything. But Sheyn, Jösh turned around to me and said, "I think I'm done." On that stage, didn't you, Jösh?
At the end of 4?
You were like, I think I'm. He's like, I'm thinking about calling it a day, and then I was like, "What are you talking about? No, you're not." And then you didn't.
I said, I did not say those words, but I did say the same, like in the same phrasing. I was like,
you were like,
I don't know.
It's really hurt. I'm thinking about calling it a day.
I said, I don't know if my arms can take it. Like my legs weren't fatigued. I had tons of energy. Paul will tell you, I can climb all day, but it was literally my arms, like my forearms. And like, whenever I was like putting my brake finger out, like, was it causing my full forearm to like lose feeling and think to myself, I don't know if I can brake anymore. So that feeling made me go, I'm like, if this, like what I thought in my head was, if this happens in the first half of the next stage, I don't think I should continue on because I'll just be putting myself in harm's way. But I kept going.
Yeah,
wow.
You did.
I think you did say that in your video, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I was pretty honest. I was like, I feel great except for my arms, and those feel like I can't keep going. So yeah,
Yeah. But out of everyone, I just turned around to Jösh and went, "Don't you dare go! Don't you You're set." I was like, "You're second. Don't you dare give up."
Paul's like, "Do you know what I would do to get second place in a race? Come on, Josh." So then we went up to 5, and that's when I was gonna say, like, I climbed. I don't think I climbed more than anybody, but I think I climbed as much as anybody. And Paul the whole time was like, I just kept thinking, at some point, Jösh is gonna say, "Yep, I'm done. I can't keep climbing." But I am the Clydesdale who just keeps on spinning.
No, I was. If you're fine after stage 1, like obviously apart from Nick, but like he wasn't really fine after stage 1. He was at the top of the first stage of that day. Sheyn,
Stage 2, yeah.
Stage 2,
Okay.
yeah. He turned around to me and said, "This is the most mountain biking I've ever done." I was like, "Wow, we've got 3 more stages, Nick." Anyway, so yeah, we go up to stage 5, and then this is this is where the group started to separate, isn't it? Because everyone was like, Jordan was definitely taking it a bit easier on the.
He was going at the
inclines.
Boostmaster pace, and so stage 5 was a tough one, but it wasn't really one you could prepare for, as evidenced by the fact I didn't pre-write it and still got first. It was just you had to get through
Did
it.
you?
Oh.
So funny. But that was a pure. If you're amazing at just not thinking about things and just if you can keep your feet up through all that, then yeah, they probably helped actually not knowing how bad it was. Maybe I don't know. What do you think to that?
That run was
we were all just like, this is going to be the worst. This is the worst stage of the day. Like,
Was this
oh,
the
no.
fresh cut one?
Yeah. Oh man, and like you couldn't move. Like I was just like. In my brain, I was like, why is my bike not going forwards? And then I was like, oh, take your hands off the brakes and then maybe it'll work. But no, it was just so muddy.
Yeah, and I knew I had watched, I think, the most pre-race footage of that stage, and I knew I would do fine because it was wet and mushy. But in the middle of it, I thought, man, I'm going so slow. These guys have to be beating me. Like, that's exactly what it was. Just felt so slow.
And do you know what I thought? I was like, I feel like I'm not going fast, but I'm keeping moving. And I was like, maybe I'm going to do better on this day. And then got to the end and I was like, oh, I got to the end of that and I was like, oh, all 3 of them have left. Wow, I must have done really bad.
They left you after 2.5 minutes.
No, because we had a time cutoff.
Yeah, it was a time cutoff, but it didn't actually do anything, did it, in the end?
Yeah.
And we all thought that if you didn't make your time cutoff, there might be a time penalty because there is for the pros. And me and Eric and Brian did not want to risk it. And so we said, sorry, slowpokes, we's going.
No, it was good. It was good they continued. I was all for that. But when I came out and I didn't see them, I was like, oh, they've just gone. So then I rolled down. And this is where, Sheyn, unrecorded, of course, but this is where I had my biggest mishap. Well, apart from the bike throw. I almost got to a point where I thought I would have to pull out because the largest bit of mud went into my eye. Have you guys been there though, where you've got something in your eye and just
all the time
nothing is happening? You're like, why is it not clearing? Why is it not happening? And then I was stood on the side of Earth Circus, which is a flow trail. Like, I couldn't understand where the mud had come from. And then I stood to the side and I was just like, I couldn't see anything and I couldn't open my eye and nothing was happening. And then I had like electrolyte juice in my drink. So I thought, well, what if I spray this in my eye, would something bad happen? Like, I need water, I guess. And then luckily this guy stopped and said, do you need any help? I was like, yeah, do you have any just water in your bottle? And that's when I sprayed myself in the eye, but it didn't really clear it. I had mud in my eye for the rest of the day, all the way into like the next morning, I think.
And just to clarify, because Paul, you're wondering how the mud got in your eyes, because it wasn't a very muddy course. If you think back to when I talked about Will Freeland's comments about Paul's tires not displacing mud, Paul finally went fast enough for the mud to clear.
This was almost at the end of Earth Circus as well.
Oh.
So it was other
Paul finally went fast. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was going so slow. I was still walking my way down Earth Circus.
All right, hey, I just have to make one last puff my chest comment because it's too good to be true.
Here we go.
Paul, I love that you said in the middle of stage 5 you thought to yourself, I'll actually end up doing pretty good. Paul, I rode the stage in 7 minutes. Paul rode it in 9:40, so he was 2 minutes and 40 seconds behind first place, and everybody else was in 12 seconds of my time.
Yeah, I think I was just a pussy all the way through again. Like, there's no, like, we're going to keep beating the same drum if we have to keep saying this over and over again. But that's why I was going slow, because I was
commitment.
Being a pussy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I would've
and then
been
we
there
get
too.
to and then we get into the last stage.
Oh, the
Which
best, the carnage.
Shane, like, can you pull up a video actually and kind
You
of
have to, Shane.
pull up a video
Okay.
of the last stage?
Whose video?
If people haven't seen this video,
I'm pretty sure mine you'll be able to see more because I was going slower.
I was gonna say pull up Yuka's video and watch the carnage at the end.
Has she released a video?
Yeah, she made a video where she showed all of us third person on that rock.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, that
You haven't seen
rock?
that, Paul?
I've seen Eddie Masters go down that rock. Have you seen
No.
that?
No, she shows everybody. She shows Brian and Eric's fall. She shows you stopping and replacing the bike.
Whoa. Don't
Her footage is awesome.
And then she compared me to Sam Hill. Basically, she just made me.
I'm sorry. What? Hold on. I have to see this. Okay, Josh is getting too big for his britches all of a sudden.
Her quote was,
Dude,
"One,
we've got to take you down. We've got to start taking you down here.
hey, Paul, you can't. You
Oh.
can. It's not Sam Hill. It's
on
Sam Hill at
Bengali.
70%, and I will take that comparison."
What's
Oh,
where is
so much
oh my
carnage.
god! I haven't seen this video. When did it come out?
Paul, we need to.
Today.
Paul, we need to
busy.
pause the podcast and all watch this together, and then come back to it.
Okay. Let's just react to it as we're going. When does the carnage actually start, though?
So I would say start at 3 minutes and 4 seconds.
Well, what about 57 seconds? Because Josh is at the beginning, isn't he?
That's nothing at the beginning.
Okay. It's still intro. Okay, 3
And then
minutes
even the
and
next
40
part isn't
3
anything. Start at 3 minutes and 4 seconds.
3 and 4 seconds.
Yes,
0, 4. Okay.
3 minutes and 4 seconds. Shane, you get there too, and then we'll hit play and watch together.
Okay. Let's count it down so we sync up.
And people can do this. Stop the podcast.
Yeah.
Go find Yuka's video. Go to
Yeah.
3 minutes and 4 seconds.
And you
it's
can
how
join
fast.
it.
Okay,
Yep.
it's Vangirl Yuka, and it's called "How Fast Are MTB YouTubers Really?"
Yep.
And so this is now officially an interactive podcast. Okay.
Oh, I
Right.
love this.
Okay, they've had enough time to go and do that. People can pause. They figured that out.
Yep.
Okay, and we'll count 3, 2, 1, go. Okay,
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. Perfect. Okay, so the logos are moving. They're flashing.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I think that was Miranda Miller.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Listen.
And there's Yuka baying for blood. Some randoms.
Wow.
The good people.
Look at that shiny rock.
Oh, dude, Shane, that rock is. Oh, and there's Eric. That's Eric,
Oh.
No, it's not.
isn't it? Are you sure?
No.
Oh, he's
No. That's the wrong line that person on the right did, and that's
No, it's not. Just wait, Paul. Just wait.
that's the wrong line.
No, it's not.
100%. No way. Eddie
I
went
think
down
she'll
the
put
right
your
line.
logos up when you're
Oh my
there.
god. Oh my god. That's the
Oh.
that is the nightmare. Oh, the tripod.
Paul,
Putting
there's
their
so
drive-
many
oh.
good ones.
Oh my. Oh jeez. That's kind
Riding
of
down
what I
it
was,
with 1 foot off. Oh.
Eddie. If you watch Eddie when he comes down, he drops.
I know.
a
Just
foot.
wait, Paul. Just wait.
Okay. Who's this? Random. Oh my god. Wow. There's
Oh.
no berm. I don't
That was
understand
going
how
so
people caught
fast.
that. So there's someone's coming in and there's just a log and people are just hitting it.
And
hoping
there was
to
a guy who
bounce
tried to tripod, and you can see him slipping.
Oh my god, no.
Oh,
that's a
right
bad one.
onto it.
That was a bad one.
Watching videos with Paul is bad.
Oh my life.
Oh,
It's a good thing this is a visual podcast, isn't it? I should have. I could.
Oh,
just,
Yuka.
no,
Oh.
I can't.
Okay, wait. Here come the YouTubers.
Okay, this is it now, is it? I was actually saying the YouTubers
Paul.
are coming down. Oh, there's Brian. Oh,
Brian?
full yard sale. There's Eric. It was a very similar crash to the one
Eric
before.
just lost his bike.
Okay, who's this?
Brian.
Brian.
Oh, that's Brian. Oh no! Oh no!
He just unclipped.
Tripod.
That could have been so much worse. The old tripod, but then weight goes
And
forward.
then
He looks
Eric-
still very happy though.
Oh, okay. But we've already seen this. Oh, Eric Twitchy. There it is. Yeah.
Oh, the tree got him.
That front wheel. Oh, did he hit his handlebar?
Yeah.
He's saying that's not
Podcast
right.
is- I'm so sorry, everyone that's not watching this and they're just listening to the podcast. I'm trying to
You have
visualize. These two are just being reactively going, oh my god, oh no. Like, let's try and describe. Okay. Fast guy.
One
Greg-
pro rider crashed it. Just
okay.
one.
Oh, I think that's
Oh.
Greg Callahan. I don't think he had I think he had a load of mechanicals. Oh, that's straight over leg, straight over.
This log is like the craziest catch log in the world.
I don't understand how people
Wow.
are smashing into the log and just keep going
Oh,
straight.
here comes
All
Paul.
the punter.
Here's Paul. So, oh no, this is when I've gone back up to have another
Yeah,
go.
you went back up.
Look at that. Feet up, all the way down, control, and then off.
Yeah, but you did go very, very. You went slowest of anybody we saw.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I was
Eddie Masters. This is
look at that.
insane.
His foot's off. Like
Whoa,
how did he? That's 1 foot just on the pedal.
He just
Full
like used the catch
two-tire
berm off the log into another catch berm.
All right, here comes the best part. Just wait for it.
slide. Who's that?
Shh.
I think that's Josh Carlson.
One YouTuber did this right.
Oh, here we go. Josh.
Just wait, Paul.
Okay, great. Is that Sam Hill? He's going so much.
Almost
He's
the same
going.
as
But watch.
Sam Hill.
Sam
he's
Hill
going
70%.
No way.
Me and Sam Hill 70% are the same person. Woo!
Oh,
No
I
way.
love how she slowed Sam Hill down.
So hang on. What's that as a percentage? I think we're good watching this video now.
And
It's
Paul,
like
just
70%.
to clarify, remember you said you had to take me down, but now you're not saying anything, Paul.
No, we're gonna. I mean, I want to figure out how much faster Sam Hill is than you, because you got how much slower he is. So if you just divide by 0.7, that should.
He's like 40% faster.
Divided by 0.7. He's 42% faster than you.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot.
Well, Paul, if we look at your time compared to mine, then he's 70% faster than you.
Oh, and then she puts all of you guys
Oh, just
side by side.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is a great video. Let's.
And then,
start this video.
Paul, you
It's
have
not
to watch
great.
that.
It's not.
You
great.
have to watch this all side by side.
Listen, I'll keep it on in the background. But like, here's the thing. I just want to say that I was just trying to survive.
Paul, Brian made it. Brian
be slow.
made it down there faster than you.
I'm sure he did because he was still racing.
He had the BC bike race fitness. Come on.
He had the PC bike race fitness. That's amazing.
Paul, if you watch back that clip with the four of
Okay,
us,
here we go.
you'll notice something.
All 4. Because I was just super cautious because I was like, death is going to happen. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. No. Oh, I'd actually passed Brian and Eric because I was on my feet.
And then Brian
I
beat
wasn't.
you.
And then I wasn't. Oh, did I beat Eric? Oh, we don't know. She cut the clip. Well, I was just trying to survive. Like, I kept saying this over and over again. I accepted that I was the slowest, so I don't need to be berated. And I was like, I'm just trying to survive. And that's what I did. And my goal was achieved. And I was the
Paul,
slowest, as I said at the beginning, for weeks.
There's one other thing I have to say, and the goal
Oh my
is
God.
the goal. Listen, Paul, as your friend, this is for the viewers. I'm not trying to berate you. This has nothing to do with you. It's just a statement, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I feel bad saying it. Out of every single person who completed the race, all of us YouTubers were in like the bottom 30th percentile.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Paul literally was the last person in the race who finished the race.
Who finished?
But 20% dropped out, right?
25% dropped out.
25% dropped out. I'm still going to give you kudos for last place there, man.
Thank you, Sheyn. You are a gentleman, sir, and a scholar. But yeah,
I'm not, because I'm not going to give you kudos for that. But I will say I'm proud of you. And I was. To this day, I am so proud and so impressed with Paul. I said it to his face that right after the end of the race, I said, Paul, literally in my head, I did not think Paul was even going to show up. And the fact that he finished it, I was like, count me impressed. Paul, you done well.
Color me tickled. Oh, gosh darn it, neighborino. Ned Flanders over here. Like I said literally from the beginning, I was like, I'm just going to walk everything. Like I had no interest in trying to ride it. I'd already counted myself out. Next year, even if the conditions are, I'll probably have a different mindset because I'll just be like, it is what it is. And I won't have anything to do afterwards that I'll be more worried about.
So just so that we can have it on video and audio record, Paul,
Yes.
you are saying for sure next year you will do better.
Yeah, I will. Everyone
And you will have a
do better.
different mindset next year.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll have the BC bike race mindset that everyone gets so upset about. Well, I'm cutthroat and I'll tell everyone, out my way.
Wait, you did the BC bike race?
I've mentioned it a couple of times. I can go and get my medal if you want further proof.
Paul, we can't see you. So once again,
I'm not talking to you.
okay, gotcha. Paul, thank you for being seriously though. Paul, thank you for being a good sport. Like you gave it your all. You finished the race and you had a great attitude about taking your time. I really appreciate that.
And thank you for being so humble as well, Josh. I think we should really honor that. And
You
also,
know what they say.
congrats on being first loser. So I can't wait. Next week, we're going to have Jordan Boostmaster on the show. And he's going to talk about how Josh was so much slower than him.
I can't wait to watch this footage and just be like, man, I have so far to go. But I will say, I'm going to pull a total Paul moment. The way that Jordan beat me was top of the world to the bottom, which I have no excuses for, and mainly in the bike park on stage 6. And so I'm like, man, I got to ride more bike park. I got to get to know it better because Jordan killed it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe he was just saving himself and he was pacing it. I can't wait for the audio where he's like, yeah, I'm pretty much just going to pace myself on this stage too. Every stage is like, yeah, I'm just going to roll through, just like take it super cruisy. Oh, Josh beat me by 4 seconds. Yeah, well, fair enough. Like I was going like 40%, something like that.
Yeah. That'll totally be how it is. Well, I hope our listeners appreciated this. I think it was fun to see everybody compete. Sheyn, you have to be a part of the next YouTube competition. Paul,
that would be fun.
Let's schedule another one before the next EWS. Like, let's schedule one in Colorado.
What a race!
Yes,
racing in America. What happens if something goes wrong? Do you know how much it costs if things get? I would be bankrupt. Why can't we do it in Canada where healthcare is free?
Paul, it's called travel insurance, and for my whole trip, it costs $15. So you'll be fine.
US dollars? Josh, that's like 150.
Wow. Well, okay. So for the race, when all is said and done, I think Jordan proved that 27.5 is by far the best wheel size out there.
And what wheel size is your new bike you just bought, Sheyn?
29.
Oh, okay. Cool.
27.5.
Cool.
27.5 plus a little bit more.
Plus just a little bit. Yeah. That's the clickbait.
If me and Jordan would have switched bikes, it would have been the same. Just
probably.
It would have been no different.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that about wraps us up. How do we finish this thing?